This presentation looks at benchmarking. Let's begin by looking at what benchmarking is. A benchmark is basically a point of comparison. So benchmarking is about making comparisons between your performance and other standards. The main objective of benchmarking is to understand and evaluate the current performance of an organisation with a view to making improvements. It is important to note that it is not a copying exercise. Just because one organisation does things a certain way does not necessarily mean it will work in your organisation. There are various classifications of benchmarking that might be used. These could be referred to as internal within the same organisation, or external, for example, against an industry standard. Organisations might set up a formal benchmarking exercise, but many organisations actively encourage an exchange of ideas between employees, and even two employees chatting over coffee about how they undertake a certain task can be classified as a form of benchmarking. In order to make sure you are doing things in the most efficient and effective way, the sharing of best practice is encouraged to allow organisations to improve their performance. It is often said that one aspect of competitive advantage is being better than your competitors. So if all the industry members adopt best practice, how do you gain an advantage? Well, one answer might be to exceed the best practice. So in this way, the process of benchmarking drives continuous improvement not just in organisations, but of industry practices as well. Let's take a brief look at some of the commonly referred to types of benchmarking. There's internal benchmarking. This is typically making comparisons between two business or operating units or functions within the same organisation. For example, comparing a factory in the UK with the performance of the US factory. But this could equally be comparing one person with another with a view to learning how to improve performance. There's functional or activity benchmarking. This is comparing a function or activity with an organisation that does the same function or activity but often in a different industry. For example, an airline comparing its booking system with the booking system of a hotel. Or an airport authority comparing how people move around the airport terminal with a sports stadium. Competitor benchmarking. This is comparing your organisation against a direct competitor. This will also include buying competitor products and studying how they are made and perform. It forms part of competitor analysis. Industry benchmarking is comparing your organisation against industry standards. This is very common in the university sector, where a range of league tables and performance indicators are provided for the industry as a whole. And universities spend a lot of time trying to understand how they can improve their performance in the league tables. Strategic benchmarking. This is concerned with strategic actions or organisational change. For example, understanding how organisations undertake their strategic planning process or undertake successful acquisitions and mergers. There are several steps that need to be undertaken when carrying out a benchmarking exercise. They don't necessarily have to be undertaken in the order set out here, but a logical process might be as follows. Establish the benchmarking objectives. This will include deciding the scope of the exercise, but we also need to identify what it is we want to get out of the exercise in the first place. If it is external benchmarking, we need to choose an organisation against which to benchmark. It is best if the benchmarking exercise provides a mutual benefit to both parties if we're looking to exchange information. But if competitive benchmarking is being undertaken, then it may be that you are benchmarking using publicly available data only. If internal benchmarking is a type of benchmarking being considered, it is still important to decide the business units or activities to benchmark. Benchmarking exercises don't undertake themselves. It might require a team of people, often with a mix of skills and knowledge, so the organisation needs to commit resources, that's time and money, to the exercise. At some point, we need to develop a set of key performance indicators or KPIs that we can use to measure performance. And if it's external, remember you need to be able to access the information about their performance as well as your own. We then need to collect the data by measuring our own performance and, if necessary, that of our partners. Next, we need to analyse and discuss the results with a view to understanding how we can make improvements. We then need to implement any changes, and this can involve a range of change management issues outside the scope of this short presentation. Finally, we obviously need to monitor the improvements to see if the changes have improved performance in any way. This might not be immediate, so it needs to be done over a period of time, and an aspect that many organisations forget to do is to publish the success. Benchmarking exercises require a range of skills, and accountants are often well placed to assist in the process. The performance measures need to be designed so that they indicate the current levels of performance and provide some insight into why performance is as it is and can therefore be improved. The performance measures also impact on the data that needs to be collected, and allied to this, the information systems that need to be in place to collect it. There is an element of cost-benefit analysis here, as some data may be very costly to collect and actually yield very little benefit, so these two aspects need careful thought. The data analysis and interpretation. There is often no immediately visible cause and effect relationship between aspects of performance in complex processes, so it may not just be a case of changing one thing without considering the knock-on effects on other aspects of performance. And this leads into an appreciation of the behavioural implications of performance measurement and the change management issues, all of which are significant when dealing with processes that involve people. This video is part of a series of short videos that explain specific aspects of the strategic management framework and cover some of the strategy models that can be used in the analysis, formulation, implementation and review and control of strategy and the role of the management accountant. This presentation is provided as part of the support materials for the book Management Accounting in Support of Strategy by Graham S. Pitcher and published by Business Expert Press.